Hello and welcome to the CWU TV News Roundup, bringing you the latest headlines from around the communications industry. As usual, more in-depth reports from our featured stories can be found in eVoice and on CWU TV. So, new from this month, we'll be featuring the icons you can see on screen now to let you know exactly where you can find extended reports, in-depth interviews and much more. Coming up, BT's Barrow call centre is saved from closure, saving 52 jobs. Pay dispute for Isle of Man post office workers. Pay deal reached at Santander. And Billy Hayes is re-elected as CWU General Secretary. But first, postal workers, Labour MPs and other trade union activists have been out in force during January and February, demonstrating their support for the CWU's Keep the Post Public campaign. Marching through towns and cities across the country, the CWU has been gathering public support for the campaign against the government's proposals to privatise the Royal Mail.
Because for 350 years we've had a fantastic service in this country. The only thing that's ever let us down is people trying to privatise it and get money for themselves.
Lots of jobs, post office closing everywhere, pensions wrecked. We're not having it anymore.
The Postal Services Bill has now entered the House of Lords. However, the Keep the Post Public campaign remains strong.
What they're doing with postal services in this country by trying to privatise it will destroy 350 years of a great public service. And we're going to carry on campaigning. We don't really care what vote they do. What this message today is about is that we're not going away.
For more information on events near to you and how you can continue to support the campaign, please visit the CWU's dedicated website, keepthepostpublic.org.uk. After a long period of tough negotiations and campaigning by the union, BT has agreed not to close its Directory Inquiries call centre in Barrow-in-Furness, saving 52 jobs. The 6-month campaign to keep the call centre open drew huge support from the local community, including local MP John Woodcock, the Furness Enterprises and the North West Evening News. BT has instead committed to upgrade the site's technology infrastructure to handle alternative work.
This infrastructure means that not only can we keep the jobs, the 999 calls that is coming into Barrow, into that site, but potentially, who knows what could happen in the future. That site is probably long term. And I think, from a head office point of view, we needed the support of those members, and if they weren't willing to fight for this, we would have struggled to get this result. So all credit to the reps and all credit to the actual members themselves.
It's been an arduous journey. It's not one that I would like to travel again, but it's been well worthwhile. And I would recommend to anybody in the same position as us, have a go. Do your best. Don't give up before the very, very end.
The CWU has won recognition and the right to negotiate pay and conditions for a group of call centre and help desk staff in Liverpool. Adecco employs the workers covered by the deal at an outsourced facility managed by IBM on behalf of Virgin Media. Reps attended workshops and training courses in order to represent fellow workers at discipline or grievance hearings. As membership grew, a formal approach was made to Adecco, who granted recognition after ACAS certified that over 50% of the workforce there had joined the union.
The whole Adecco experience has really given the union a bit of a shot in the arm throughout the whole of Virgin Media, and I think it goes beyond that, because what we've been able to do in Adecco is it's not been the CWU appearing from the outside. It's been a group of people on the inside getting organised, and that's a message that we want to send out to any group of workers. So it's a very, very powerful signal for us as a union.
Also in the news this month, the CWU warns government ministers and fat cat bosses not to neglect Britain's workers as inflation continues to rise faster than pay. The restructuring at O2 is progressing well, and a consultative ballot due on the ISPL final pension salary scheme nears its conclusion. The union is considering a request for an industrial action ballot at the Isle of Man post office after the company refused to go to binding arbitration in a dispute over pay. If it goes ahead, this will be the first ballot for industrial action among island postal workers in living memory.
The talks have been going on since April 2010, so we haven't rushed to this position. We've tried to look at every possible angle to secure an agreement. We do understand the financial position of the island as well as of the company, But if we continue to be success, and we want to continue to be successful, people have got to be motivated. So we travel in hope. The phone's on, the door's open. If people want to come and talk sensibly to us, they can, but we're not going to accept, and I don't think the members are going to accept, that we don't have this grievance aired and our case heard and try to get some sort of satisfaction.
Since filming, CWU have served notice to Isle of Man Post Office for an industrial action ballot. Over 250 postal workers will receive ballot papers from the 18th of February and the vote will close on the 16th of March. Terry Pullinger said, "We've done absolutely everything we could to settle this and avoid a dispute, but there's just been no movement at all from the company." Industrial action is looming at post office counters after POL bosses refused to settle the 2010 pay negotiations. Since April 2010, CWU Assistant Secretary Andy Fury and his negotiating team have been in talks with POL over pay increase and assurances over job security. However, POL are refusing an increase in pay, claiming that Crown Office staff are already overpaid.
Our members don't feel wanted, they actually feel undervalued. They're incensed and they're outraged by some of the comments that's been made by Paula Venables, the MD. Worse still, the directors actually had a 21% increase in their bonuses and basic pay. Only 8 directors we're talking about, and it came to something like £3.9 million in 2009-10. Yet these very same people are saying that my members don't deserve a pay rise. It is double standards.
And you can watch an in-depth interview by visiting the CWU Matters channel on CWU TV now. The union has struck a new pay deal with banking group Santander after last year's successful integration of High Street banks Alliance and Leicester and Bradford and Bingley and the takeover of Abbey National. The new pay deal will now be put to a consultative ballot.
The CWU is recommending an agreement in Santander UK which provides the majority of our members with pay increases of 3.1% or more. It also increases allowances and pay scales and provides pay rises for people with protected rights of 2.5% with £225 cash lump sum payments. The agreement also includes some underpin payments to boost the position of the low paid. It's in the top 25% of pay deals in the UK, and as I said, as far as we're aware, it's the leading pay rise in the banking sector this year.
CWU has slammed government plans to restrict the ability of workers to take their employers to tribunal for unfair dismissal. Business Secretary Vince Cable has announced new proposals, currently under consultation, that would limit access to tribunals to only those staff with at least 2 years' service.
The changes that are being proposed by the government are an out-and-out attack on ordinary working people's rights and leaves workers exposed to all sorts of unscrupulous employers' actions. One of the biggest worries about the changes that are taking place is that without the ability of recovering the costs of pursuing litigation, then individuals just will not pursue claims. They will not be able to take the financial risk of, first of all, taking on a corporation or an organisation who's probably got unlimited funding in comparison to themselves. If you're an ordinary working person who cannot afford the risk of carrying out such legal action, then you will be denied your normal right of access to justice with the British legal system.
And finally, Billy Hayes has been re-elected for his 3rd term as General Secretary of the CWU. After 2 previous successful terms in office, Billy is determined to continue to develop and integrate the best traditions of the union movement and retain an effective position with the TUC and Labour Party. And you can watch an in-depth interview with Billy Hayes following his re-election by visiting the CWU Matters channel on CWU TV now. Well, that's all for this time. Don't forget to check out the recent editions of eVoice and our video selections on CWU TV for extended reports, in-depth interviews and much more. Until next time, thanks for watching.